Yet another bank robbery, this time along Medford Street. Arlington police are asking for your help tonight in tracking down the armed suspect. There's a new man at the top of the ladder heading up the town's fire department, and he's no stranger to Arlington. Tonight, ACMi News introduces you to Chief Kevin Kelly. ACMi is ready to unleash its third annual Fido Fest. Does your pooch have what it takes to win over film lovers? We'll show you everything you need to know to get your four-legged buddy up on the silver screen. And 50 years ago this week, a technical marvel took place, courtesy of a vision born from our 35th president from Massachusetts. Tonight, a look back at the Apollo 11 mission and a look forward to when we can possibly do it again.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered. We're your neighbors, a friend you can turn to. This is ACMi News.
Arlington police say a man wielding a knife robbed the Winchester Savings Bank on Medford Street in the morning hours of July 17th. Hello, I'm Michael Cerullo.
And I'm Eleni Kaminas. Thanks for joining us. Police say this is the third Arlington bank heist this year. ACMi News was on the scene just minutes after the armed robbery, which took place around 10:20 a.m. Several police officers and K-9 units scoured the bank property for any clues. Authorities say the robber had a knife and demanded cash from the teller, then got away with an undetermined amount of cash. Here is the bank's surveillance image of the man they're looking for. Police say he's a white male armed with a knife, wearing a Red Sox baseball hat, black jacket, blue jeans, sneakers, and a black napkin covering his face. Anyone with knowledge of the robbery or the suspect is urged to call Arlington Police at 781-643-1212.
Changes at Arlington's fire department. Deputy Fire Chief Kevin Kelly, who served as the Fire Prevention Specialist and Public Information Officer, has taken over the new job as chief. This after Robert Jefferson's retirement. ACMi's Brenda Mahoney has an exclusive interview with the new chief and his plan for the future.
Kevin Kelly became fire chief a couple of weeks ago after going before a panel with some other candidates. But his journey to the top actually began before that, having been on the department since 1994 and having grown up right here in town.
I've been in the fire service for 29 years. Within the Arlington Fire Department, I've served in almost every role. So it just seemed, 25 years here in the town, it was time. It felt natural for me to take that next challenge. Except for approximately about 4 years of my life when I was in the service, I've either worked or lived in Arlington, so about 50 years. And being a kid in town and some of my friends' dads being firefighters, and just to think that, I'm standing here now as the fire chief, it's a little overwhelming. My first priority, and it's always the number one priority of the fire department, is one, the safety of the men and women that work here, and two is the safety of the citizens of the town. So that priority is always there. Before I make any major decisions, I have ideas of things I'd like to do, but I'm already seeing, just in my 2 weeks, that it looks a little different from this side of the desk, and there's things I have to consider that I didn't consider before. We roughly do over 5,000 calls a year. That's 911 calls. So that's someone called 911 for assistance. About 60% of those are medical. A lot of order calls, like, I smell something funny, to alarms going off in buildings, and so those kind of things. So we're kind of we're a fire department, but we're more of an all hazards department. We respond to a lot of things, including cats and trees, right? So it's a great town to work for. The people are wonderful. They're always walking in. This is an open, it's a town building. People can come anytime they want, and people are always coming in to thank us for the job we do, which is certainly unnecessary. We're proud to do it and happy to do it, but it's a great town to work for.
Outgoing Fire Chief Robert Jefferson spent 12 years at the helm. Under his leadership, all 3 fire stations were remodeled, including this one here at Broadway Plaza, moving headquarters back here as well. Kevin Kelly, the new fire chief, appreciates all of his service, as well as us here at ACMi. Brenda Mahoney, ACMi News.
A 4-story, 50-room boutique hotel with an upscale restaurant is in the planning stages for Arlington Heights. It would be located at the former site of the Disabled American Veterans Social Club and the Precision Tire Alignment on Mass Ave, which is still in business. The proposal was made by a realty trust firm run by James Doherty, a former member of the Board of Assessors. Doherty is currently Burlington's appraiser and assistant assessor. More details are set to be discussed at a redevelopment board hearing Monday evening, July 22nd, in the second floor conference room of the Town Hall Annex. Spy Pond was closed July 12th as it underwent some much-needed chemical treatment for aquatic invasive species. As a result, recreational water activities like boating, fishing, or pet swimming were not permitted for 24 hours. Invasive species could be any organism that is introduced to an area where it is not normally found and often outcompetes native or naturally occurring plants or animals. They can overtake native organisms, use up available nutrients, and in extreme cases, kill off area plant and animal life. Regular water activities resumed the next day. Town leaders say the chemicals used are environmentally friendly and pose no threat to the native species that thrive here.
Well, work on the water is complete. Work on the land continues at Spy Pond Park. Work at the water's edge is still getting some much-needed attention. Temporary barriers are set up to tackle what will turn out to be a $640,000 project. Workers have begun stabilizing the pond's shoreline along town-owned property to stop erosion. They're using a natural barrier made of coconut hair, which will eventually decompose, but will separate the natural vegetation from the pond while curbing erosion. They're also replanting new grass and bushes to clean up the water's edge, and the porous walkway has already been installed. Spy Pond's banks have eroded over the years, in part because of bad weather, making the ground unstable. Sources of funding for this project come from the CPA, a community block development grant, and a pair of generous donations by the Friends of Spy Pond. Arlington is temporarily putting to rest Thorndike and Magnolia Fields as part of the town's field management plan. Town leaders say that both East Arlington fields need time to grow new grass and stabilize the base soil. No activities of any kind, like organized games, picnics, or just walking, should be held on either locale until further notice. The dog park, playground, and community gardens remain open. Town leaders thank residents for their understanding and encourage field users to spread the word in order to properly maintain these assets. Residents will be notified when the fields will reopen for public use.
North Union Park recently served as the perfect backdrop for a playground pop-up concert to promote green initiatives. This July 14th event was sponsored by Mothers Out Front. It's a chance for area moms, grandmothers, and caretakers to get together, celebrate good music, and exchange ways to make climate change an issue that our leaders can no longer ignore. Mothers Out Front has been building a very powerful grassroots campaign to ensure that our children have a livable future in the age of climate change.
I organized this event actually because I'm part of sort of a subgroup of Mothers Out Front that's involved in organizing mothers with young children. So I have a 2-year-old and then a baby on the way, and I know what it's like to be a busy mom with demands of young kids, but also someone who wants to do something that's important for the world. So we've organized a play group for moms with young kids to get together once a month. We hang out, the kids play, we get work done, we work on these types of events. So we organized this event to help raise awareness about climate change, get people to sign up to be involved, to take action, and then give them information about CCA or Heat Smart, things like that. Fundamentally, if you just look at the world around us, it's beautiful, and I want to keep it beautiful and healthy for my own enjoyment, but also for my daughter and everyone else. And there's so many threats to it right now. And all this research shows that we have 10, 15 years to make a big difference to reverse or stop climate change from being totally devastating. So it feels very immediate and critical for, I want my daughter to have a safe and healthy future.
Many caretakers here say they've never been activists before, but they're learning that they have more power and can do more individually and together than they ever thought possible.
You'll recall State Representative Sean Garbely reached an agreement last month with the Office of Campaign and Political Finance. This after it was reported he violated campaign finance laws. According to the agreement with the OCPF, Garbely failed to disclose nearly $17,000 in donations to his campaign and $14,000 in campaign expenses over a 2-year period. The lawmaker, who represents Arlington and parts of Medford, reportedly billed his campaign more than $850 for work-related Uber rides last year, despite being compensated by the state for those travel costs. In a recent statement to the Boston Globe, Garbely said, quote, "I very much regret that during a very busy campaign, there was not a single point of contact for the campaign processing expenses and donations received through different platforms. This was and is my responsibility. These mistakes will not reoccur in the future." Our Public Affairs Department interviewed Garbely since the June incident occurred, and this is what he had to say.
And so, unfortunately, because of human error, the contributions that came in through online were not disclosed the way they should have been, and the way I did it in the past, and the way I'm doing it in the future. So I worked very closely with OCPF and the director, Michael Sullivan, to make sure all the contributions that came through Act Blue were disclosed, so we knew who contributed, what the names were, what the occupations were, how much they gave, and so that everything was on the up and up. OCPF analyzed every single one of the contributions, realized that there was no malfeasance on my part or those contributing, to make sure all the money went to where it should have, which it did, and no contributions were returned because there was nothing wrong with the type of contributions or how much or who gave. It was just, to put it simple, sloppy paperwork. So we put systems in place to make sure it won't happen again. Remember, it was 2 years ago. It hasn't happened in the past 2 years. But I really appreciate the folks at the Office of Campaign Political Finance that worked with me to make sure we got it right.
No charges were levied against Garbly because state officials say he was completely cooperative with the investigation. The office forgave $10,000 in loans to Garbly's political campaign, and he had to pay a $2,000 fine. You can hear more of what Garbly has to say on this and other topics. Just go to acmi.tv and click on Talk of the Town.
Now that Arlington is poised to get a new state-of-the-art high school, one of its teachers is heavily involved in employing a new and exciting high-tech teaching tool. You may recall we introduced you to Christina Toro last week. She's been a Spanish teacher at Arlington High for 7 years. She latched on to what's known as immersive technology, using virtual reality to teach her students Spanish. Instead of the one-dimensional blackboard method of teaching, Toro is completely immersing her students into the history and culture of Spanish-speaking nations. She says it allows students to go far beneath the surface of many fascinating cultures.
Because if they're hooked and they stay with the language through the years that get tougher, in terms of, what they're expected to be able to say, or, the verbs and the conjugations and the sentences, but they kind of overcome those obstacles because it's so much fun. And that they're learning so much, and then they can take that information and use it right away. If they're working with someone who's from a Spanish-speaking country, they'll say, "Oh, I just saw this about your country," and all of a sudden, the relationships that they have with people outside of the classroom become improved as well.
Do you find it kind of escapes from the stereotypes that maybe Americans would have about Central and South American countries in the Spanish-speaking world?
And I make a conscious effort to do that, to highlight, some areas of Latin America that they do things really well, because I don't want to just highlight the things that they are struggling with. I think that there's that overemphasis on the things that they are, they're developing, and what are they doing wrong, and how far do they need to go. But instead of also looking at what is it that they do well, what is it that they do better than us that we can learn from, and I think that as a Spanish teacher is super important.
Toro tells us this immersive technology is transforming the learning experience not only in Arlington, but worldwide. And now she's encouraging her colleagues to use this high-tech teaching tool in other subjects like history and art.
A popular New York chain of frozen custard shops has made its way to Arlington. Abbott's Frozen Custard had its grand opening last week when free frozen custard was served. Abbott's Arlington now makes the chain's 4th location in the Boston area, and already residents are enjoying a refreshing and tasty treat, which makes this summer heat much more bearable.
Arlington's been super welcoming to us. So we have a store right in Lexington, so some people did know our name already. So it's been great because they've really enjoyed it, and everyone who's new has come in and been really excited about it. And it's different from ice cream, so people are always really intrigued by it. I've been working for Abbott's for about a year now, and it's really exciting. It's a really fun brand. It's definitely fun to work with kids all day long, and I get to make people happy with ice cream, so I love it. It's so much fun. We're hoping to have some great lines out the door, as stressful as they can be. It's really exciting when we have a lot of people in here. We're just trying to spread the word and let people know what we have and who we are.
This delectable dessert chain first opened in Rochester, New York 92 years ago, and now has 40 shops all along the eastern seaboard, from Massachusetts to Miami. Coming up on the other side of the break, an update on our town manager getting glowing reviews from Arlington's executive branch.
And a nostalgic look back at JFK, as he dared to dream something that was incomprehensible in the early 60s. That dream would be fulfilled 50 years ago this week on the lunar surface, arguably humankind's greatest technical achievement. That and more when we come back.
If you see news happening in your area and you have a smartphone, you can see it, shoot it, send it. Make sure to hold your phone horizontally and send us your video. Or share your video with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just look for ACMi News.
Hey, let's go out for breakfast. Pancakes.
Lunch.
Let's go get
A salad.
A smoothie.
burger. More and more consumers are eating out. Studies show you and your family may be eating more calories than you think. And when it comes to your health, your energy, and your weight, calories count. Now the Food and Drug Administration is requiring restaurants and similar food establishments with 20 or more locations to post the number of calories in menu items they sell. So you will have the information you need to make informed choices, whether you're dining at a fast food place or a sit-down restaurant, grabbing carry-out from a supermarket salad bar, or deciding to splurge. Knowing the number of calories you're eating is most useful if you know how many calories you actually need on a day-to-day basis. And that varies depending on such factors as age, sex, and physical activity. How active are you? Must you sit all day for your job? Is your metabolism fast or slow? Are you 6'4" or 4'6"? Remember, you can always talk to your doctor about your calorie, weight, and nutrition needs. There are also some online tools that can help you know how many calories to eat each day, whether your goal is to maintain, gain, or lose weight. Just plug in some basic information about yourself, and after a couple of calculations, get the number of calories you're aiming for. When it comes to good health, it's not just calories that count. You also need to think about what nutrients are in the food you're eating, such as sodium or saturated fat. FDA is helping with that, too, by requiring that establishments have this nutrition information available for menu items. All you need to do is ask. Whether you're going out for
sushi,
tacos,
pasta,
you'll be able to make an informed choice. And FDA is helping you to do just that. Calories count.
Now that we are knee-deep in the hot, sticky weather, what better way to mark these dog days of summer than with Fido Fest? ACMi's third annual Fido Fest is almost here. It'll be taking place August 3rd at 7 p.m. at Spy Pond Field. Fido Fest is the area's only festival that celebrates lovable dogs and their human pets. Everyone is welcome to take homemade videos of their hardworking, off-plumb, and quirky canine. Then, on Saturday, August 3rd, join your loved ones to watch your own video of Rover or Fido outdoors on the big screen, while munching on popcorn or milk bones. Whatever floats your boat. All videos can be anywhere between a few seconds and 5 minutes. To learn more about submitting your visual homework, if your dog doesn't eat it, just go to acmi.tv and click on Fido Fest for details.
What do dogs, the Robbins Library, Old Schwam Mill, and the Moon have in common? Well, scratch your heads no longer.
All four have inspired cool summer events in the next few days for you to do right here in town. And that's not all. Here's ACMi News' intern Chelsea Swift with a look at Arlington's endless summer.
To enjoy these hot days of summer, you don't have to go far to soak in the sights and sounds of the summer, right here in Arlington. On July 20th, you can immerse yourself at 13 Forest Gallery for the opening of a new exhibit called While It Lasts. This event accentuates the joys and at times struggles of raising children, embracing parenthood while it lasts. To celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing, Robbins Library is screening the 1929 silent film Woman in the Moon on July 24th. The film will be scored live by award-winning keyboardist Jeff Rapsis. Next Thursday evening, July 25th, there are a few events happening. You can head to Old Schwam Mill for a night of art and music. This event features a talk by the 4 Vernon Street artists, as well as traditional fiddle music. Or you can enjoy a family-friendly concert on the lawn at Robbins Library. The band The Outside Toys will perform traditional folk songs, rockabilly, surf, and country music. All summer long, you can get out and enjoy Pathways, Arlington's public art initiative, including sculptures, installations, and paintings along the bikeway between Lake Street and Swan Place. On select Sundays in July, August, and September, you can visit and talk with artist Freedom Baird. Her outdoor installation, Room to Grow, is on the Minutemen Bikeway and encourages discussion about the environment and sustainability. This one-of-a-kind exhibit features used recycled furniture and native plants, all to encourage green initiatives. And that's a look on arts and entertainment this summer in Arlington. For ACMi News, I'm Chelsea Swift.
An update to a story ACMi News aired last May. Town manager Adam Chapdelaine isn't going away anytime soon.
2 months ago, he got rave reviews from the town select board. ACMi's Jeff Barn talked to Mr. Chapdelaine about his outstanding grades from town leaders and what he thinks needs to be improved in the future.
No doubt the town of Arlington has undergone some major changes in recent months. The controversy over the debt exclusion for the new high school and the override to keep Arlington progressing. The bus rapid transit program along Mass Ave. The untimely passing of a select board member and the recent election of a new face in the town's executive branch. All this under the tutelage of town manager Adam Chapdelaine, who answers to the select board. Last month, the select board gave superior reviews to Adam Chapdelaine here at Town Hall. Now, Adam Chapdelaine first had to give a self-evaluation to the select board, and then after that, the select board submitted individual reviews on qualities that it was looking for in a town manager. Things like operational leadership, public relations, financial management, and even personal characteristics. The select board could score anywhere between 1 and 5, 5 of course being excellent. And in the end, Adam Chapdelaine received a score of 4.7 out of 5 from Arlington Select Board.
It makes me feel good, and it's good to know that they like the job that I'm doing and they hopefully want to keep me around.
That's already a given. Arlington's town manager signed a 3-year contract earlier this year. Select board members say Arlington is fortunate to have such a competent manager.
Overall, we all feel you're the perfect 5, but I agree with you that it's nice to, maybe not so much, I wouldn't say criticism, but just areas where myself individually, I feel like there's something more I needed, and what did I not do that you needed to hear? So it's reciprocal. So
they also have some critical feedback, which helps me continue to get better, and I appreciate that as well. But I think most importantly, it's a team effort. I get to be the person that sits in the room and works with the select board every other week and then speak a lot before town meeting. But we're blessed here with a great team of department heads and a great staff right down to the lowest levels who work hard to try to do what they can for the people of Arlington every day.
Adam Chapdelaine's current contract runs for the next 3 years through February 2022. For ACMi News, I'm Jeff Barn.
50 years ago this month, humankind overcame some astounding obstacles as a 39-year-old U.S. astronaut named Neil Armstrong became the first human to set foot on another world. The historic Apollo 11 moon landing proved what a proactive America can achieve when great people dare to dream. There will be 6 subsequent missions after Apollo 11's giant leap. 11 more men would walk on the lunar surface. Massachusetts played a major role in humankind's quest to explore the heavens. ACMi News talked with 2 experts right here in Arlington about that pivotal moment in world history, how far we've come since, and what plans we have, if any, to return.
The quality of the video was actually rather poor. It was a black and white camera, it was grainy, I think it might have been backlit, and it was actually a little bit hard to figure out what was actually going on. And it wasn't until some of the real photographs came back and the enhanced images came back that it was clear exactly what he was doing going down the ladder and stepping on the surface and things like that.
The Apollo program was important in that it stimulated an entire generation in mathematics and sciences. I think that's one of the legacies of Apollo, that it got a generation interested in science. And I think that a similar program in the future that is designed for scientific or exploration reasons rather than political reasons, which is what Apollo was designed for, beat the Russians to the moon, I think that will help in encouraging science in the next generations.
At a time when NASA reflects on this momentous achievement, the space agency is already looking to return to the lunar surface in 2024.
That'll do it for us here in Studio A. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Eleni Kaminas.
And I'm Michael Cerullo. We leave you tonight with a speech President John F. Kennedy gave at Rice University in Houston, Texas in September 1962. On this, the 50th anniversary of Tranquility Base.
JFK began this vision that seemed too bold to believe. 6 years after he was taken from us, Kennedy's dream became our reality. What Michael Collins, Buzz Aldrin, and Neil Armstrong accomplished a half-century ago still captivates us and inspires us all to dream. Good night.
For we have given this program a high national priority even though I realize that this is, in some measure, an act of faith and vision, for we do not now know what benefits await us. But if I were to say, my fellow citizens, that we shall send to the moon 240,000 miles away from the control station in Houston, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall, the length of this football field, made of new metal alloys, some of which have not yet been invented, capable of standing heat and stresses several times more than have ever been experienced, fitted together with a precision better than the finest watch, carrying all the equipment needed for propulsion, guidance, control, communications, food, and survival on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body, and then return it safely to Earth, re-entering the atmosphere at speeds of over 25,000 miles per hour, causing heat about half that on the temperature of the sun, almost as hot as it is here today, and do all this, and do all this, and do it right, and do it first before this decade is out, then we must be bold. I'm the one who's doing all the work, so we're just going to stay cool for a minute. However, I think we're going to do it.
You can always check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ACMi News. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You'll find us at youtube.com/ACMi News. If you have any news tips for us or wish to become a citizen journalist, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by ACMI Studio A at 85 Park Avenue.